Alright, here we go. This is Starter Deck Yugi Evolution versus Kaiba Evolution. A little while ago I did do this duel, but I got the decks wrong. I read something incorrectly on Yugipedia or Yugioh Wiki or something, and I actually built the reloaded decks, which came out in like 2013 or something, but I got it wrong. But anyway, since we've finished the Duelist Kingdom Cup tournament that I put together, the next starter decks that came out were none other than these ones, Yugi and Kaiba Evolution, and after that there was a starter deck, Jade and Yuki, and then it sort of went into the GX series. So these decks, they're not quite Battle City, and they're a little bit too updated for Duelist Kingdom. They're this kind of odd in-between that happened, so I thought I'd redo this duel. And a lot of people were asking about what's coming next in the series, and I thought I'd talk about that a little bit as well. So these decks are slightly different. We're looking from Yugi's perspective, and so far we haven't had any of his newer cards. What he does have are cards like, he's got Blackluster Soldier in this one. For example, he's got a few updated magic and traps like Eye of Truth and Dark Plasma Zone, I think it's called as well. So let's see what we get for Kaiba. Kaiba goes with a face down defense. So, alright, Yugi's turn to draw. He has picked Dark Blade. That's a new card for this starter deck. The starter deck Kaiba and Yugi Evolution, they are much more advanced than their predecessor starter deck. These ones, I think, I could be wrong, but I think they came out in 2004. Mystic Tomato, that's a new card for the Kaiba deck as well. That allows you to summon a 1500 or less dark monster with 1500 or less attack. The Witch of the Black Forest does qualify for that as well. Now, the deck counts, they were 48 and 47. Both decks, I think, had a Change of Heart and a Pot of Greed, which are both banned cards. I can't play them in this game in multiplayer like this. And Yugi's deck also had Last Will in it. So Yugi couldn't have Change of Heart and Last Will. From memory, there's Skull Red Bird, that's another, and Mountain as well. That will Megamorph, that's a new card. That will double or halve the attack depending if your life points are higher or lower. If your life points are lower, the attack will be doubled. And it's not original attack, it's attack as it currently is. So Dark Blade has been destroyed by Tribute of the Doom. That's also a new card for the Kaiba deck. Witch of the Black Forest went back to the hand for attacking Wall of Illusion, but now Kaiba's life points are lower. So now Skull Red Bird is 3300, which is massive. That's even higher than the Blue Eyes White Dragon. So yes, in theory, if Blue Eyes White Dragon was out right now, it would be at 6400. So Megamorph is a stupidly powerful card for this era of Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Another card Yugi had in his starter deck was Swords of Revealing Light as well. That wasn't in his original. So with, alright, there goes Sangan, and we may be able to get a bit of a look through Yugi's deck here as well. Royal Magical Library, that one's new. Giant Rat is new. Karibo is new as well. Sonic Bird was added. Gazelle, the King of Mystical Beasts, was added. Sonic Bird was added to make it a little bit easier to try and summon Blackluster Soldier. Well, as we're following a bit from this duel, what's coming up in the next series? Okay, I do want to do a Battle City series. Spellbinding Circle, that's new as well. So yeah, I'm going to do a Battle City series. I'm going to assume that people can sort of follow on without me commenting on it. I got a lot of comments on YouTube about what's coming next. Something I did want to do was a season mode for the original starter decks. But the starter deck, Yugi, Joey, Kaiba, and Pegasus, well, as you saw, Yugi's deck made it to the semi-final, then lost to Joey. I'm thinking definitely with the Kaiba and the Pegasus deck, they need to be updated a bit, I think. What I actually want to do is recreate those starter decks like take out, you know how Yugi's deck has, say for example, Great White? I want to take Great White out and maybe put in like Griffor or something. With Kaiba, take out like Mystic Clown, a card that he never used, and put Sagi the Dark Clown in, and then have like a season mode with like the characters from Duelist Kingdom. That's one thing I wanted to do. Battle City, definitely in the works as well. The thing is, these decks, they take a long time to make. So for me to do the Battle City tournament, I will need probably a week or so, maybe even 2 weeks to sort of get all the decks together with the characters, as we're going to be looking at, say, Bakura's deck being very much updated from the one which I made for him in Duelist Kingdom. You're going to have the additions of Marik, Odeon, Ishizu. Kaiba and Yugi's decks will both be updated for their Duelist Kingdom anime decks, same with Joey. There's going to be all the rare hunters, there's going to be Strings, Arcana, what's the Exodia guy's name? Did he even have a name? He might have just been called Rare Hunter. I'm going to make a deck for him. This game does kind of have the story decks, but they're altered in a way that it kind of makes them a bit less true to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, if that makes sense. So yeah, I will do custom-made decks for them. What other rare hunters were there? Well, there was Arcana, there was Strings. Strings the one who Yugi won. There's Black Luster Ritual, by the way, as well. Strings is the one that Yugi won Slife of the Sky Dragon. Now, some people did say about the Egyptian gods. Yeah, I want to incorporate them into... It's a bit of a strange one, because how do I incorporate them? Because Strings played it against Yugi, but Yugi won it off Strings. So for me to make that work, in a sense, it will take a little bit of planning as well, I think. There was also the arc during Battle City where Noah and those 5 executives came in. So to get a knockout tournament, you really need to do it in multiples of 8 for it to work really well, which is possible. So we could have Yugi, Joey, Kaiba, Strings, Arcana, Rare Hunter that used Exodia, Ishizu, Marik, Odeon, Bakura, and of course Maya was also in it as well. Mako had a little cameo, Rex Raptor and Weevil. What's the ESP guy's name? Esperoba? Was that his name? Yeah, I think so, if I'm remembering it correctly. The blue-haired guy that had Jinzo. Yeah, I'm sure it was Esperoba. All those sorts of characters who played those little one-duel cameos as well. I think it'll be easy enough to make 16 decks. If need be, I can always throw in like a... there was also that tag duel that Joey and... Kaiba and Yugi faced. They used the 4-face beast sort of deck as well. That's kind of a theme deck as well. And speaking of theme decks, that transitions me into doing themed decks. For example, Amazon S is one I use all the time on this actual game to actually beat the game. The Amazon S deck is really, 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 really broken. For this era of Yu-Gi-Oh, the Gravekeeper's deck was one that was quite good as well. And someone did say about GX as well. Absolutely, I want to do GX series. I actually really like the GX series as an anime as well. There's Warrior Digreffer, that's another one for Yugi, but I don't think he ever actually used that card. Anyway, so yeah, I will do decks that are true to the GX series. It just might take a week or so for me to plan it out and get it all together, who's going to compete, and actually go back and research their decks that they used on TV to, sort of create sort of like starter decks for them all, which the Yugi and the Kaiba Evolution decks are kind of a blueprint to go off. Luster Dragon's a new card for Kaiba. He's also got Hyozen Ryu, which is 2100, 2800, which is quite a good card as well. But yeah, I would like to do a Duelist Kingdom season mode. In fact, I'm going to do all the arcs eventually, I think. I'll be 100% honest. Once GX ended, that's when I kind of stopped watching as a kid. So, I mean, I will attempt maybe one day in the future to do sort of like Yugioh's deck. To be honest, I'm not even familiar with the characters from Zexel, Arc V, V-Rains, all that. So, I mean, I am a traditional old school Yu-Gi-Oh fan, as we see Dark Magician get played. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's possible, but I don't know how to sort between their artworks. I don't know if that's an option anymore in this game. Good play there. We saw Luster Dragon be a little bit stronger than Dark Magician, but Mystical Space Typhoon got rid of Shift. That's a card that you used in the anime, but it was a magic card instead. So yeah, that is the plan. I do want to do a Duelist Kingdom season with the same 16 decks, except we're going to alter the starter decks a little bit to... So I'll put like Battle Warrior, Garuzzi's, Axe Raider, stuff like that in Joey's deck, cards that they actually use, because the starter decks are kind of a bit odd. I built all the other starter decks kind of around cards that all those characters used, and then filled it with like the same sort of theme of monster and whatnot to sort of, you know, build the 40 card or minimum of 40 card deck. Alright, Yugi has also drawn Summon Skull. Looks like he might actually win this this opening match. The Evolution decks, they were a lot more balanced. They were a lot more competitive against each other as well. If you put these Evolution decks against those old starter decks and the ones that I made for the Duelist Kingdom Cup tournament we just saw, these decks would probably just thump all of them. They're a little bit too strong. Alright, well, it's looking like Yugi will pick up the win. Card Destruction. Powerful card if used. And so yeah, these decks. Oh, there's in Kaiba's graveyard. There's Fairy Meteor Crush as well. Maybe I should make a deck for Duke Devlin as well. Have Orgoth the Relentless, Yoranzo, all those sorts of cards in there. There was a Dice Dungeon Monsters. I think it was on Game Boy Advance as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm heading to go. Of course, you know, I am taking all considerations into thought as well. Like, I'll definitely do all these series, Battle City, GX. Okay, I also want to do all the structure decks. The original ones that came out in 2005, how you have was it Zombie Madness, Dragon's Roar. The first run of them, there was 5. There was Dragon's Roar, Zombie Madness. There was, I think it was called Warrior's Triumph, Legacy of the Deep, or something with oceans. I don't know. It had it was like a water themed deck. I can't quite remember the name of the decks. And there was also a Winged Beast one. Triumph something, I can't remember. But it had Simurgh, Bird of Divinity as its main card. Well, there was 5 of them that came out, and as we just see, Yugi gets the win. I will play one more duel of this, and we'll flip it around. If they draw, then they draw the series. This is just an exhibition match to showcase another couple of decks that were in between Duelist Kingdom and Battle City's sort of time frame. But these 2 decks came out in real life. I did own them at one stage, back in my childhood as well. Also, so yeah, I want to do those structure decks. The ones that came after that, there was Spellcaster's Judgment. Now, I've got 5 of them. I've got the Zombie one, the Warrior one, the Sea Serpent one, or the Water one, the Winged Beast. Oh no, there was a Fire one as well. Blazing something. It had that big fire guy. I can't remember his name. Inferno Flame Lord or something? Inferno Flame Emperor, something like that. I don't know, there's a lot of cards in this game, it's hard to remember them all. So initially I did want to do one where I made starter decks out of each specific booster pack. That was another thought that I had as well. So like, I did do that initially on this channel when I was doing the first Yu-Gi-Oh duels. I did a Legend of the Blue Eyes booster pack versus the Yugi and the Kaiba starter decks, and it lost. It's not that it was like really any stronger or weaker, but the more I sort of look through all those booster pack cards, the more I sort of began to realize that isn't really going to work. And the reason being is because they need cards from other booster packs to really actually create a proper deck, which it kind of defeats the point of it just being a specific only booster pack deck. So I kind of scrapped that idea. It's still like, you could still sort of put it towards their generations of what they came out. So yeah, a lot of things in the thought process for Yu-Gi-Oh content on the channel. Never going to stop doing Yu-Gi-Oh content. Yu-Gi-Oh content's too much fun. Alright, so Opticlops, that's another card that's new for this Kaiba Evolution deck from his predecessor deck, which is an 1800 attack with only 4 stars. And if you remember, some of the cards in those starter decks, they were like Yugi had Doma, the Angel of Silence, which was 1600 and was 5 stars. Again, a card which he never actually played. So yeah, I'll do that. The Duelist Kingdom season. So I mentioned it before. So what I was thinking with that is having those 16 decks with Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, and Pegasus, sort of like closer to the anime deck rather than the sort of starter deck, but still in that sort of starter deck strength realm, if that makes sense. And then put so there'll be 16 contestants, the same 16, and they'll each play each other once. Because when we did the Duelist Kingdom Cup, we sort of saw some really good matches as well. But we never got to saw like a Kaiba versus Weevil, a Rex Raptor versus Mai would be fun. Or say like a Mako Tsunami versus a Pegasus. Like we all kind of never saw those sorts of duels in the anime. So basically 16 rounds, which, to be honest, it sounds good on paper, but that's a lot of duels. Like, that's 16 duels per round, and there's going to be 16 rounds, so each player can play each other once, and then basically whoever's got the most wins at the end is the one who wins the season. Kind of like a sports season, if that makes sense. Like I know in the NBA they have playoffs, in American football they have playoffs as well. Think English Premier League. The team that finishes at the top is the one that gets the trophy. Same with Australian rules football, that's how... Oh, no, we have a top 8. What am I thinking of? No, anyway, but if I was to do that, that's... So 16 duels per round times 16 rounds, that's 256 duels. Like, that is a lot of duels. Although I am willing to do it because I think that would be really fun as well. Seeing sort of like just these random duels like a Joey versus he played against much of them though, didn't he? Taya with her fairies taking on Mako, Weevil and his insects, taking on Rex Raptor. Kind of like they had that little skirmish at the start of the series. It's a lot of duel action and will take a lot of time to do, but I think I might sort of do that season as I'm doing another one. So I'll have like the Duelist Kingdom season while like the first Battle City tournament's going on, something like that. Another thing with this game as well, it's only got 32 slots to have decks, which is quite a lot, but with 16 decks, that's already taking up half my space on my game file of decks. And if I was going to make another 16 with, say, like Battle City and do like a GX series, I'm going to have to remove some of the decks to make room for them all, sort of like in the amount of deck lists that you can have. And like I said before, it takes a long time on this game to create decks. So yeah, kind of got to find that happy medium. And it's looking like Yugi is going to get absolutely thumped in this duel. I've been watching it. I haven't been calling it play by play, but these two decks are easy enough to follow. Zombira the Dark, that's in the graveyard now for Yugi. That's another card that's new to his deck, but I never actually saw him play that in the anime. Again, like, so it's sort of a half Duelist Kingdom, half Battle City deck that these evolution decks were. The video that I did earlier on the channel, I got it wrong. I called it Reloaded. No, I think I called it Evolution at first. Called it the wrong title, built the Reloaded decks that came out in like 2013, and then put that on the thumbnail as well. Found out that I got them wrong, retitled it, so now it just looks really weird with the wrong... Ooh, Mystical Elf. Yugi will be able to protect himself, and Kaiba can't use that Megamorph because his life points are too high. Well, he can still use it, but it will halve his monster's attack. So yeah. I will definitely do a GX series. I will definitely do a Battle City series. Similar again, I could do a Knockout Cup round for Battle City. In GX, you know, I reckon it would be really cool to see like a Jaden, a Cyrus, Zane, Alexis, Huckleberry Finn, Bastion, Chumley, Crowler, maybe Chancellor Shepard. I think he had a duel or two in the series, didn't he? Professor Banner. You know, put all those characters together. I might have to rewatch the GX series. I've seen like most of the first and second season, but it's a long time ago. So, but yeah, that's the idea. Is when I was doing the Duelist Kingdom Cup, I was doing one duel per day. I can produce more than one duel per day. That's no issue. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking of heading. So sorry, I know this has been a little bit of a ramble session, but where are we up to? Kaiba cannot get Mystical Elf off the field, which is ironic. It's Yugi's turn. He's just played a Sangan. That's clever. He's going to attack Mysterious Puppeteer. Yeah, nice. Get them both off the field. Activate Sangan's effect. Clever play. With Sangan as well, because it's 15 or 100 or less attack. You can also get like you can get a Man-Eater Bug. You can get a Giant Soldier of Stone. You know, Sangan's a good effect. I don't get why Last Will's banned. I don't think it's banned anymore. Remember, this is Legacy of the Duelist. This game came out in 2019, and I don't think it's been updated for a long time, because Last Will is pretty much the same effect as Sangan. It's just a magic card equipped to a monster. So why that's a banned card is strange. Now these decks, you did see the card count was a little bit uneven. Yes, what cards were missing from which? I think they both had a Pot of Greed, which I can't put in the deck and then have them duel in multiplayer, because it's a shame, but I can't figure out... I don't think there's a way to actually have that on or off. If you go into multiplayer and you're actually playing against someone, you can't use banned cards, which is okay in a way, because it's sort of keeping true to official Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Guide Starter Decks. There was one more starter deck that came right before the GX series. I think it was just called Starter Deck, and it was like almost like an elemental hero kind of themed starter deck. So you'd say it was sort of like a Jaden Yuki starter deck. Yugi Evolution. So Yugi Evolution. Yes, he's missing Change of Heart and Last Will. He is also missing... No, it might just be them. Yeah, I think it's just those two. I think Kaiba's deck, I had to omit 3. which, to be fair, for Change of Heart, if there's any decks, this is a problem with the structure decks. A lot of them have Snatch Steal, which is banned, and for a good reason, because Snatch Steal is just one of the most broken cards in the game. And Yugi with 400 life points is still hanging. How has Kaiba not managed to take off that extra 400 life points? Yugi's putting up a defensive effort here. Alright, Kaiba's won. The Evolution deck is missing. Kaiba would win. Mad Sword Beast does piercing damage. Royal Magical Library, very nice. It's a good card, that, as well. Every time a spell or trap is played, or is it just spell? Might just be spell. You put a spell counter on it. With 3, you can get rid of the 3 counters and draw a card. Yeah, so Kaiba had Change of Heart. Oh, he also had Premature Burial, which also for some reason is banned, but Monster Reborn isn't, which also doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Yeah, Premature Burial. Change of Heart. Yeah, so... Alright, there goes Mad. Ooh, Summon Skull at 3000. I just looked down for a minute. And that Mystic Plasma Zone, that looks really cool on the field as well, that card. That's what I like about Legacy of the Duelist. It looks really pretty. Now, can I change the background field? Because there are different background fields. I'm not sure if I can do that in multiplayer. Alright, down goes... No? Reliable Guardian. Okay, Kaiba's still unable to get rid of Yugi here. This is quite an interesting match, to be honest. And I haven't called it because I've been talking about where the channel's headed with Yu-Gi-Oh content. If it produces duels like this, we're in for some good shows. So Mystic Plasma Zone, that does a 500 attack point increase and a 400 defense decrease. Kaiba has also got White Dragon Ritual, that's to Ritual Summon Paladin of White Dragon as well. Yeah, so what happened in the anime? After Duelist Kingdom, there was that little bit with Rebecca when she was angry at Yugi because she thought that the Blue Eyes White Dragon card was stolen. There was that little thing. Then there was Duke Devlin as well. So they're 2 characters I can potentially make decks for and have sort of a... So Duke Devlin dueled a couple of times. He dueled against Joey and beat him. He then played Dungeon Dice Monsters against Yugi. And... Yugi could make a comeback here. Could you imagine if Yugi came back and won this? He might do it, you know. Swords of Revealing Light is on the field. Kaiba can't attack. So yeah, Duke Devlin did also have a duel along with Tristan and Serenity, Joey's sister, which Serenity only ever dueled that one time, but it's an interesting thought. Maybe we could do a little separate arc with Noah and those five henchmen that were Kaiba's sort of like business partners. There's a lot of options. There really is. In terms of going ahead. But yeah, absolutely we'll do them all eventually. I reckon I should do more than one duel per day. It also depends on length as well, you know. I reckon the duel lengths that have gone between like 8 to 15 minutes have actually been a bit better than these match ones, which also is another point. When you do just a single duel knockout tournament, if one deck just draws a really, really bad hand, they kind of lose a duel which they should have had a better chance of winning at as well, which is part of the game, of course, but on this, I can also do a match, which is 3 games in 1. Which, best out of 3, of course, that's another way to go about Yu-Gi-Oh! If I was going to film that, though, I would probably do them single duels and just play best of 3 of singles, so I could flip the, so we can flip the perspective around to see what hand that we're looking at. Be very interesting if we could see Yugi's hand right now, because, oh, there's a Blackluster Soldier. This Kaiba's running out of cards to defend with. Yugi's got 2 monsters on the field now that are going to be attacking heavily. Kaiba is in real trouble. Swords of Revealing Light is still on the field, so he can't attack. You got to be kidding me if Yugi's going to make a comeback. It'll be hilarious if Kaiba draws like Ukazi or just Azerts or something. Just, psych. But I could have just missed the play-by-play calling. I've watched the duel and I've been like watching all the cards play. Like it's an easy match to follow. Ryoku Field, that is the card that was added to Kaiba's deck as well. Alright, Giant Soldier of Stone in attack mode. There's not even a risk because Swords of Revealing Light is on the field. Monster Reborn, Zambira of the Dark. You know what though, I'm really surprised that this Yugi Evolution deck didn't have Gaia the Dragon Champion. His original starter deck didn't have that either. Which is another reason why I want to update the starter decks, because you know, Kaiba had Mystic Horseman and Battleox, but he didn't have Polymerization or Rabid Horseman, like the Fusion, which is like something I could add to the Kaiba deck and do like a closer to Duelist Kingdom deck with Joey, Battle Warrior. That's a monster that he had in. Quite, you got to be kidding me. 400 life points, plays 750. Yugi has been at 400 for like the last 10 turns, maybe even 20 turns. And Kaiba had 9,300 life points, and it looks like he's going to lose. He is, he's got nothing to defend with. Ryoku Field. Swords of Revealing Light saved Yugi. I don't believe this. Yugi is actually going to win this duel from 400 life points. With Kaiba being at... Oh my god, that is incredible. That might be one of the best matches that we've seen so far on this channel. Well, that was absolutely incredible. I didn't get to do the play-by-play. I'm sure everyone was following along as well, but that was the main purpose of the duel. I didn't think it would produce a match that good. I just came here just to tell you what was... I did address some of the comments on YouTube, of course, but I thought I'd redo this duel because I botched the last one. Well, that was a match and a half, and now you all have like an idea of what's going to happen on the channel as well. I think I definitely will do the Duelist Kingdom season, but I'll do, while that season's going on, I'll start doing Battle City as well, and maybe some of those in between characters as well. Will I do a knockout tournament? Yeah, probably. I wouldn't do 2 seasons at the same time. That'd be too time consuming. But yeah, the thing is, because the Battle City decks, they're going to take some time to make, and because I've spent like hours on end creating the Duelist Kingdom decks that I made, I kind of want to make the most out of them and do all the content I'm going to record for that. And of course, so maybe we can always revisit every era as well once it's all been made. There's I've said this before to a friend of mine as well, in terms of this Yu-Gi-Oh content when we've had the chat about it. Yu-Gi-Oh is such it's such an open-ended game. The possibilities of deck creation are endless. I could do Yu-Gi-Oh content for the next 50 years and not even scratch the surface of like possibilities of a deck. There's 10,000 different cards. In this game, there's 10,027. There's more than that in the real world now because this game came out in 2019. But there's over 10,000 cards. The maximum you can have in a deck on this is 60. The possibility for deck creation is so endless. There's literally unlimited Yu-Gi-Oh content to do. So, you know, what that means for me is that I will forever be able to have a stream of Yu-Gi-Oh content to do. So, and I am well within my willingness to perform, create, showcase some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh content that the internet or YouTube in specific has to offer. Well, with that being said, I am going to head off and start putting together some more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Are you a Pokemon fan? I also do Pokemon solo runs on Gen 1 and Gen 2 games. Possibly going into Gen 3. Need to try and figure out a code to modify my starter Pokemon, but I will find out a way. I'll find a way around it if I can't do that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a bit of a word vomit session, but, you know, of course, leave your comments and everything as well. I am curious to hear what people want to see with Yu-Gi-Oh as well. So, thanks for being here. You're all awesome. Farewell.